Alright, we're getting started here. Those are Dell Power Edge, not Powervault. Why is there an error on the screen still? No. Power Edge. It doesn't. The bezels all look the same. We don't have any ME storage in here currently. This is only a monitor holder slash expensive server. This one is the R750. R750 monitor holder. Getting fired up on this $3 SSD today. So if anyone saw the video from yesterday, we Faywisp, thanks Carter. We're doing some of the live testing on this thing today. I can't believe we're investing as much time as we are. But thanks to Infinity Tech for causing this massive dilemma that we're in at this point. So to recap, I get this random box yesterday at the office, and I knew something was coming. Infinity Tech had opened a ticket on Discord and said, I need your address, I'm going to send you a gift. His definition of gift is not my definition of gift. Gift is something that brings people love and joy or appreciation and happiness. All this thing did was make me do more work. We already have like 65 reviews going at this time, and I know I'm not compelled to review this thing, but I feel like Ohio demands it. It's the leaders of storage in Ohio. So we shall review the $3 drive, but I will take my revenge on this drive by reviewing it alongside the Kingston Enterprise review that we haven't done yet. So it's a 960 gig Kingston drive, and then we'll see how this little piece of crap holds up. The main stream is on TikTok again today. We are running a side stream on YouTube, so we welcome our YouTube friends as well. Appreciate it. Oh, Infinity Tech is on the YouTube stream, so if you feel like you want to send him some hate for what he has done to cause this, then I think it's well worth it. I would even encourage toilet papering his house. While he has my address, I don't have his, but as soon as I figure it out, we will be sending a flaming turd box. So what we are doing, though, is Kevin's getting this drives set up. We got both of them. They're in this Overkill Genoa box over here. What are you working on? The drives. So we should probably So this shows, oh, you gave it $3. I assume $ is a forbidden symbol in Windows Drive Management?
It comes after Z.
No, nothing is after Z. We learned that the hard way. So you've got the Windows C 111 gig available. Let's give it a good name. That's it. And 894 on our Kingston. So what are you planning to do here?
Try's going to load 2 sessions of this and just have them go.
At the same time?
Yes.
You never tried that before?
Normally don't do it. You would model tests. In this case, it's
We're
already
not,
shit, so.
we're not worried about the motion. See, you're gonna get in trouble like me for assuming that it's going to be garbage when it could very well. It could be the best SSD we've ever tested.
No,
What do you mean no? You don't know.
it won't be.
Why won't it be?
Because
Okay, I said it won't be, and then I got crapped on in the comments for being an elitist. I'm an elitist, but not for that reason.
yes, we're testing a 4 gig footprint.
Look how fast it is.
I know.
It's maxing the SATA throughput.
It's basically operating inside host DRAM at the moment, the 4 gig file.
Okay. Well, are you going to do worse than this?
Yes.
Oh. So this is just the warm up. Okay. Just the warm up. Well, we're seeing what the gap looks like right now. What capacity? The $3 SSD is 120 gig. The Kingston that we're going up against is a 960 gig. Phison F. So we haven't busted it open. I don't know if it's. I don't know what the controller is.
Well, M.2 did use a SMI controller. I'm assuming this is quite the same.
It seems like S11 is the big thing.
Yeah. SMI is the original controller.
Oh, I'm sorry, Phison.
Look at that. Look how fast it is. Look how awesome that is.
All right, so test one, 550 read, 460 write, which it's faster.
What? What number on there is higher? Is your math messed
Oh
up?
yeah, we didn't get to writes yet. I was
God.
just okay, but it's still.
Are we
it's still
looking
very,
at the same numbers?
It's still very close, except for as you get under the
Well,
more
it's definitely
intensive
not
work.
faster.
Yes, no, it's not faster. I'm very confused by this. I'm just afraid that I'm going to be wrong, and I'll be laughed out of the lab with this $3 SSD.
So as soon as it expands outside the normal, outside 4 gig footprint, it's going to be trash. They might both be trash, though, so there's that.
It's not bang for the buck, though. If you're going to spend $3 on an SSD, that's fine if you want a boot drive that you have no expectations.
Well, remember, those Micro Center inlet SSDs?
Yes.
The ones that, the comments on, those are the guys on Reddit where people are asking like, hey, my drive failed. It's
Yes.
not there.
Yes.
$3 only works to a certain point of like, hey, oh shit, did you have anything valuable? Because it might be a cheap drive, it might
No,
be
you can't. So the argument Kevin's articulating is that the home labbers that are in favor of the $3 drive are saying that they want the $3 drive because it gives them something to boot off of, and hey, it's not that bad. But the problem is that it is that bad. It will not survive, and even if it does, for what? 120 gig drive for $3? The value prop isn't there. When you consider what you can get in a nicer drive on sale, 25, 30 bucks, you can get a real controller, QLC NAND, so it's not the best of all the NAND packs, but it's still highly reliable and performs extremely well for reads. And as this thing's coming around on
This
right
thing's basically a step up from the USB thumb.
step up from the USB thumb drive.
Not a no-name thumb drive.
Yeah.
Or not a name brand thumb drive.
Right. So you've got to factor in reliability, and when this thing dies, if your data's worth nothing, then so be it. Yes, fine, upgrade an old laptop, but I would much rather, you see, there are a lot of other good SATA alternatives for that. What would, like an 860 Samsung, or what's the last
There's
SATA?
850, 860s, there's 86, like,
Yeah.
there's a ton of models.
I would much rather you dive deep into your pocket and find $14 and buy a real SSD instead of a $3 thing from unknown. I don't know what to do about the audio sucking in YouTube. We're using our better wireless mic on that front, so there's something still wrong with that.
Who's saying it sucks?
Jordan.
Does it sound like we're far away, Jordan? Like, I wonder if it's the exact same problem or it's being disconnected right there.
Yeah, audio and TikTok's good. He says the mics are not hooked up. It's definitely hooked up. Give me a second. Let me remove.
Last time we did that, I unplugged it and then plugged it back in.
All right, mic has been removed. Is reinserted in YouTube. Please alert if better. All right, what'd you do?
Increased footprint from 4 gig up to 32 gig.
You made it 8 times more intense?
I would call 32 gigabyte footprint intense, but
8 times more than a 4 gig though?
yes.
It all fixed. So maybe we need to wait till the stream starts on YouTube before.
My guess is you plugged it in before the phone was unlocked.
Either way.
It may not have the setting to function with USB devices when locked enabled.
All right, so now Kevin's moved from a 4 gig to a 32 gig file and started the tests over again. What's your expectation here in terms of how this will differ versus the 4 gig file?
Much more difficult.
Okay. That's your insight?
I'm going to load up Resource Monitor to at least view stuff live. You'll put the drives under more stress.
All right, so the first 4 gig file was friendly, relatively so.
Strange, I don't see it writing out to any of the non-boot drives yet. So,
See, it's still holding up though.
read is.
Well, that's half the battle, quite literally. It has to read and write. BS Tech, thank you. You don't have to spend $100 on an SSD though. No one said go crazy.
Yeah, that
The only
$100
reason-
drive is like a entry. It's a entry enterprise drive from Kingston, not a consumer SATA variant.
Yes, so in this whole test, all we're doing, I'm only running the Kingston because I'm angry at Infinity Tech. Let's be absolutely clear why we're doing this. I want to take his nose and rub it like a puppy in that shit on the carpet in the house. That's Infinity Tech's. Infinity Tech is a bad puppy at this point. But I'll be wildly embarrassed. I mean, the thing's going to suck here as it gets a little more intensive. I'll be wildly embarrassed if this gap doesn't widen. And once Kevin runs his full VD Bench test script, if it doesn't totally suck, then I'm going to cry. We will publish, though, and I will admit if I was wrong. Kingston is server RAID 6 possible. No, you can RAID SSDs. Isilon data domain. We just did a paper on Power Protect. We haven't seen pure data domain in quite some time. Xander, that's Brian on cam. That's Kevin on percussion. And thanks for all the likes and shares, guys. That's really nice of you. Helps us help you. So the more of that stuff we get, the better the lives go, the more engagement.
I love the brand.
What?
SSD 120 gig.
Yeah,
That's
it doesn't
the
even have a
brand.
brand.
Yeah, so like that thing where it's like Kingston, or this thing where it's Seagate Ironwolf, SSD 120 gig.
So that's when you know it's quality. What, Golden Fur didn't even dare disrespect the SSD by putting their name on. So Golden Fur name is on the label, but not in the drive ID itself. That's unfortunate. All right, so still only trails by 30 megasecond on writes. That's not bad. It's hanging in there.
So far.
So far,
On VD Bench, we were averaging, I think, about 100 megasecond on write.
for the NVMe drive.
Well, for this guy when it was running prior.
So after this, What are you going to do after this run?
Maybe we could load up Black Magic and look at that, but a lot of it, the test file stuff doesn't really stress a lot of the SATA devices. Just a lot of things tend to get cached in the system, but they are useful.
Yeah, Zippy. So a $3 drive for big transfers, yes, it will suck. It has no cache, and you'll quickly overwhelm the controller. Because you can see down here, and maybe
Yeah.
Kevin, you can talk about what's going on here and why it's dropping so hard compared to the.
Sequential's easy. We see that on SD cards and thumb drives where sequential read and write tends to be high. And then on quality versus kind of cheapo crap, random write or random read, even large block or small block, crushes some of those products.
All right, so yeah, so we're down by a little better than half here and by quite a bit on that. Which one is this? This is 4K random?
Yeah, I think that the
Oh
bottom
yeah,
is
random
latency.
4K queued up 32. Okay, so starting to fall apart under a moderately heavier workload for the non-sequential.
Yeah, so from an IOPS perspective, 20K IOPS on the El Cheapo, excess of 100,000 on the name brand, and then 4X the random write IOPS.
Okay, here, before you, are you gonna screen cap any of this stuff?
I can always rerun these things. These aren't really super valuable tests.
All right, so what's next? Black Magic?
Yeah, I enjoy that Firefox does not play nice with this large monitor.
Kadi, thanks for the follow, and Chris. Thank you guys, appreciate it. So, while Kevin's getting Black Magic, maybe, this all started because, as I was saying, talking trash in our Discord. So if you're not in the Discord yet, come check it out. It's a lot of fun. We've got about 1,400 members in there now. Some people are legitimately solving technology problems. Most of us are just screwing
We're
around.
causing problems.
But it's fun. Discord.gg/storage review to get it in on that action. Zippy really wants you to hurt this drive, Kevin. He's requesting a 50 to 80% fill and then run tests again.
Well, our VD Bench test, we do a full fill before the test starts, so it's a little bit different than the point and test stuff that we do on Windows.
Hey, thanks, Beard. The Discord is pretty awesome. And BP came into it, BP4, yesterday or the day before, so we're getting the TikTok regulars to show up and represent in the Discord. Oh my gosh. Does it really want you to reboot?
Kind of, but it's more for the applications it installs along with this. This guy's just a carry-on.
All right, so starting with $3, Kevin's going to run Black Magic now and see what we can get out of this.
Wish I could load 2 sessions of that, but
This is still a relatively lightweight, single-threaded test, yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll see some performance, and you can leave this open and run it for as long as you want. Sometimes we run longer distress drives just to see how they hold up, but this is probably about where it'll sit. Unless we leave this going a while, I have a hard time thinking it'll be much under this initial thrust, but this again is lightweight.
You could also power the thing down and tear open the drive to see what's inside, but we may want to wait until after testing just so we don't break it.
No, I promised the reveal today, so. Pretty sure I mentioned that before we start. We don't really script these, but sometimes we talk about it beforehand and then disregard somewhere in the middle. Chris and Avery, thanks for the follows, guys. We appreciate it. Zippy the drives will thermal throttle eventually. Arif, thanks for the follow.
This guy stands for.
Oh yeah, Beard, you need to post. You won the box of crap. You need to post a picture if you didn't already on Discord.
So one thing that's a little bit different. The Kingston has a metal body. This guy has plastic. It's
So yeah,
running a
you
bit
can
hotter.
see. So well, the Kingston's not working right now either. To be
But
fair.
even during the Christmas market, it was at around 30C.
So this is where you can see the difference in case design. 40C on the plastic case, 29C on the metal case with the Kingston. Now we have seen client drives show up with both metal and plastic cases. It doesn't mean one is right and one is necessarily wrong, but the harder you push drives, the better you want the thermal offload to be.
I'm going to go to one stage higher before I tear open this thing.
We're not running video, we're just testing the pure storage performance right now. The streaming video off an SSD is pretty light work.
Unless you Netflix, and it's a lot of video.
Yeah, we'll be sharing, thanks Charles for the follow. We'll be sharing read and write performance. So where'd your Black Magic go?
I stopped.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to run it for Kingston. What, are you getting back to thermals here?
Yeah, I just want to see if any of these numbers actually pick up. Kingston,
Kingston
spike,
slid up
went up.
5 degrees.
Picked up just a little bit, but
Yeah, when we do some of the more intensive testing, it'll be interesting to see if over a couple hours what happens. We won't get to all of that on this live stream. That's probably beyond the scope of what you guys want to see. But this will give us, with a bigger test file size, a little more work on the drive, and we can see if anything else pops up. What's the 49? Is that the boot drive?
wait, what? Oh, yeah. Well, that's an M.2 sits behind the CPU.
Yeah.
That one idle is basically seeing the temperature all day
Behind
long.
the CPU, which is a twin Bergamo box at the moment,
Yeah.
256 cores in there. Moderately overkill server for testing these drives.
Yeah, do you think the CPUs are holding up?
The $3 SSD holding at 40 Celsius. Yeah, the cores are doing okay.
Yeah, so it's building a test file. This guy's going at around 74 megabytes a second as it's building it. So yeah, so that guy uncached, going at 79 megs a second on write.
So how are we looking on temps? So Kingston's inched up to 32 and the other one's pinned at 40.
Well, I have no idea. If
Meanwhile,
that's
it
even-
hasn't posted anything.
Well, it's because it's preparing the test file. If you look right there, it's writing at 77 megas a second. It's
It's right out of the test file.
well, Kingston already finished making its test file a while ago.
To the fourth test.
Yeah.
It is interesting though that it's still stuck at 40 even though it's at heavy load. I'm a little surprised it hasn't popped up past 40.
I could probably dunk that thing into ice and it would probably still say 40.
Wait a minute. Now you're not suggesting that the thermal sensor's bad on that or not there at all and pinned to 40?
It's been 40 since the second we plugged it in.
Okay, so you're saying that it's unlikely that the drive, when plugged in fresh, ambient temp, what was ambient temp in here in Celsius?
It's 74 degrees Fahrenheit in this.
What is that in Celsius?
I don't know.
Okay, whatever it is. But from the jump it was at 40, under heavy load it's at 40, and now it's creating its test file still at 75 megasecond?
Well, like, it's just telling you that it's good and 40, like, I would not be surprised if those are hard coded.
Hard coded temperature sensor. It's impossible that it's been at 40 the whole time.
Considering it's 40 when it's not tested or under test, like, that part doesn't make sense.
Maybe Crystal Disk Info just doesn't know how to read its particular temp data.
No, pretty sure it just might be reporting.
Okay, so it's possible that Crystal Disk Info doesn't know what it's doing, but we've never seen this before where a drive starts out at 40, under load is at 40, and it still can't complete the first run of the read test in sequential, which is...
Well, no, it hasn't started because it's still writing out that file. It's 74
Okay,
megs a second.
it hasn't started, but yet it hasn't completed, so I'm not incorrect on that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Normal
the
drive.
Kingston's almost done. It's almost completed the test. And to be fair, this is a heavier test. It's a 64 gig footprint. We started out with a 4 gig and everything went fine for both drives, although the Kingston was still much better.
And the Kingston is a larger drive.
It is a larger drive. It's 960 versus 120, so it's got that going for it. But we are still preparing the test file over here on the 64 gig footprint and have made no noticeable advances yet. The temperature holds at 40 C. So for one of you guys, would you tell me what 74F is in C? You might have told me. I'm just now looking at comments on TikTok. Joshua, thanks for the follow. Love it. Kevin's giggling off to the side. I'm not sure at what. I'll ask him here in a second.
And it's also giving you that's good 100%.
It is good 100%. Why would it not be good?
Yes, why would it not be 40 degrees Celsius?
Okay, we'll check on our FireCuda, the boot drive, or the Iron Wolf. It's good at 100%. And Kingston doesn't even tell you a percentage.
Yeah.
So how do you trust it's 31 degrees?
I would stand behind that brand, probably a little bit better than the other side.
Okay.
Okay, so the Kingston's completely finished.
That took 4 or 5 minutes.
Weren't you the one that was telling me it was faster?
The $3 drive?
Yeah, you were like,
No,
see,
no.
look at this smaller number means it's faster.
No, I never suggested that.
Yeah,
The
okay, if
people
someone has
on
the capability
TikTok.
of rewinding the stream where Brian's saying like it's faster.
Oh, 23 and a third Celsius is 74. So it seems, okay. If it's 74 ambient in here, and that's 23.33 for infinity Celsius, roughly, and we put it into the server, and it reports immediately at 40 C, you shall not trust this drive. And I know you guys, you keep pounding on me, but it's a $3 drive. It's just a boot drive. It's fine. It's for home lab. It's an awful drive. It might do a little bit of SSD type activity. It might be able to boot Windows or whatever, but this drive will break your heart. And then you're going to be like, I deserve that. Then you're going to realize you spent $3 for the pain, and now you're living in a van down by the river because you were cheap. That's all I'm
Well, if
saying.
it's a nice van down by the river.
Well, hopefully you saved all your flash spend for your van. All right, so it finally posted, and it's not that much slower. So this is the challenge of having to articulate 522 versus 540. They're about the same, right? So now what? It only took this one 20 minutes to get to the point where it could post.
Yeah, we should mention right now it's still an IOPS field, so even though it's 1 meg transfer, it's still aligned to megabytes per second. But yeah, it's on IOPS field.
Yeah, the latency might be interesting too. Still,
As soon as you move out
40.
of the system buffers, you can start to see some differences. That's where VD Bench tends to crush drives because it gives no mercy to burst.
so for fun, we did test the NVMe drive, and so we can pull that up too, probably. The $8 drive.
I don't have anything to really pull it up on yet. It's just it's in Excel files.
You could show that Excel view, right?
I don't have any of that on the system.
Slack.storageview.com. All right, Monday? All right, see you, Dylan.
But needless to say, that drive makes the P41 Plus look like you're comparing SATA to top-end Gen 5 PCIe.
Wall says, I thought my speed was bad. Yeah, this is not good. I don't want anyone to think this is good just because the numbers look similar.
Or that
Still, 20-something minutes in, still 40C. Well within spec, right?
yeah.
The Kingston finished and then dropped 3 degrees. So you could say that the Kingston's variability in temperature could be used against it because it goes up and down, while the SSD 120 stayed at a consistent 40 degrees Celsius.
I want to stab you.
Kevin's resorting to violence. If this ever finishes, you want to throw it over to VD Bench and let it get its real work done?
Don't worry, it'll still be at 40 degrees Celsius when it's off.
Oh, Infinity Tech says he gets 40C in his server too.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
There's no temp sensor on this thing. That's fantastic.
I'm honestly surprised this isn't one of those like those fake SD cards was like 4 terabyte and I think it was actually like 4 megabytes.
Right. So far the good news of this drive is that it reports at 120 gig on the sticker, and that's what it is in the server. So at least it's not lying about capacity. You will get, what was it, about 118 or 111 or so formatted?
Yeah.
You will get about 111 formatted, so you're getting the capacity you're buying for your $3. So far, that's the net positive. The other positive is that it's 40C and very reliably so.
I hate this thing.
Yes, so send your hate mail to Kevin when you guys want to defend the $3 SSD. No, this is not a good drive for backup. Why are you people not learning anything from this conversation?
Well, the weird part is like it's not even especially when going to the NVMe drive, it's not a cheap drive per gigabyte.
The NVMe drive, yes. So it's a 128 for $8. That's a terrible deal. Do not buy that. For 30, I think it was like $32.50, you can get a 1 terabyte P670, right? And that's per
39 was the P41 Plus.
Yeah, 39 for a brand new P41 Plus for 1 terabyte. So $8 for a bad 128 SSD NVMe, the NVMe 3 of all things. Do not do that. The NVMe drive is completely off the table, cannot be considered, it's expensive. The $3 drive shall not be considered for backups. If you do that, you're a very bad person. And whoever suggested that, Jason, oh my gosh, Jason wants to buy the drive. It's AliExpress. What's the brand called? Dapu Fur? No, something Fur.
Gryffindor?
No.
Golden
Fur.
Golden Fur.
Golden Fur. Golden F-I-R. Yes,
Okay,
F-I-R.
I'm going to end this torture. I'm going to turn this thing off. They'll probably still say 40 degrees Celsius, but let's open this fucker up.
All right, Kevin wants to crack it open. He's tired of this nonsense. So we shall bring it to the surgical board and see what's inside. And this will start
here.
to answer.
You have hands. Tell me, does that feel like it's 40 degrees Celsius? It's fucking cold.
I'm holding it. It is 0 Celsius. This is room temperature. It is not 40. The cake is a lie. Here, where are you going to set up for this?
I don't know.
Well, let's figure it out so we can reframe the...
I wonder if it has screws or... Okay, it just pops together. I'll do it right here.
All right, so we're going to move angles real quick. And then Kevin's going to hack into the innards of this disgrace. We move the auxiliary stuff out of the way. All right, let's get wild. So someone said it had a 5-on controller in it. Let's, here, make sure, yeah, your right shoulder is kind of. So Kevin's going at it with a spudger.
I feel like this is going to stab through my...
Oh, that was easy. Please don't break the delicate board. This is, oh, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Oh! Oh, you almost broke it. So it is an actual SSD. So for everyone saying micro SD card, it's an actual SSD. It's got a controller. It
What
looks like
brand is that?
looks like 2 NAND packs. Can anyone here put it on this?
I don't think my phone was focused closely. It's like once the video starts, it becomes a pain in the ass.
See if anyone can ID that
Here, can I stop this video so I can...
for a second, but then we'll need to restart it.
Yeah, I want you to take a picture of this.
All right, Kevin's
Zoom
going to
in
look
for
it
my
up.
old man eyes.
The case is warranty void at this point. Just a cheap plastic shell, nothing. I mean, this is probably 4.5 cents of plastic. Golden for a label. You can tell where it's sourced from. Shenzhen.
Okay, if someone on TikTok is able to look for it, the model number of the controller is Y as in yellow, S as in Sally, 9082 HP.
It starts with a Y?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's one of the Yang T's ones. But that was YSM's, yeah. Yeah, here, we'll show it to you again. Hold on a second. Are you done with
What?
the board? So here's the board. Let me see. So it does have a connector. It does have a little mini body. And don't be troubled by the length of this PCB. This is normal for low-cost client drives where they don't go with a full-length PCB.
Yeast store.
Yeast store? Like what? Like Y-E-E? Like yeehaw?
Yes.
That's the controller?
Yeast store.
Never heard of it. Can you get anything off the NAND packs?
The discussion is it'd be insane if this is a knockoff of the SMI controller.
Yeah,
These NAND packs are they're not branded.
no, the NAND is very much leftover NAND or stuff that was never used. Zippy, their market share is nothing. You have to understand that Samsung sells so many terabytes of flash that the guys scrapping for shit on the NAND pile for $3 drives is yes, Yeast Store Infinity. This is the lowest quality.
The model numbers don't coincide with anything on Google that I can find.
All right, so we're unable to source any information about the NAND. We know the controller is a YeStore controller of some kind. Never heard of this ever before in my life. Do we know anything else about YeStore? Do they manufacture like USB drives or something? Because it wouldn't surprise me. For a SATA drive, you don't need a complicated controller exactly, right?
I've never heard of them before.
No, I know you've never heard of them, but we often don't crack open $4 thumbsticks either.
It looks like mainland China native SSDs.
Okay. So there's that. The trick might be to get it back into the case so that we can finish the more intensive benchmarking. We only did the lightweight stuff today. Well, China all the way. SpecTech NAND is what Austin is saying. I've never heard of SpecTech either. I suspect that's just the branding. So when we were looking at the $8 NVMe drive, oh, look at that! You put it back together again.
Yeah.
You should have taken pictures before you put it, like, you just have to open it again. Where to? Into the Lenovo?
Yeah.
All right, so Kevin's going to throw those in the Lenovo and get the more substantial testing going. That's not super visual, so I'm not sure if you guys are going to be down with wanting to watch that. Yeah, well, Team Group is already pretty low cost, so yes, you're getting lower and lower. Lower down the bin. It will crash. You will not recover it. Wait, it's YeStir or YeStore?
YeStore.
Someone said YeStir on here. Maybe they're getting ready.
STOR.
This guy says it's for sure YeStir with ER, but that's fine. We shall figure that out before we get to the end of this. Oh, maybe when you get into the Linux box, can you see if it reports temperature there?
It reads the same data, but I don't have SmartLAN tools installed. I don't like any of that on here.
So what have you done, Kevin? You've put them into the Lenovo 635.
Yeah.
And
Can't see his eyes.
And what are you doing there?
This is where we're doing the VD-Bench test.
And how does that compare to the lightweight CDM stuff we were just looking at?
CDM is with file system in place. VD-Bench will be testing the raw storage directly. So no system cache, which basically crushes the DRAM list drives.
Zed, thanks for the follow, buddy. Yeah, the prevailing thought is they're probably YeStore may possibly reverse engineering other low-cost controllers.
Yeah, it looked like it was a clone of the SMI controller.
Yeah, if any of you guys find useful information out on the controller or anything on YeStore, send it over, info@storagereview.com. I'd love to see what you can drum up. Or we can start a channel or forum in the Discord, discord.gg/storagereview. Love to see what you sleuths can dig up. So far, if we're to summarize where we're at, we did Crystal Disk Mark testing on the Kingston drive and on the $3 drive, and we saw confusing performance results, because when you look at what the final output is on CDM, it looks like it does okay, but when we get to the more intensive workloads like the 64 gig footprint, the Kingston finished the entire test before the $3 drive even started. So that's the easy stuff, and it started to fall down there. What's important to note is that the $3 drive did report 40 degrees Celsius at all times, even when coming out of the server, and touching it with my own bare fingers, I assure you, it was not 40 degrees Celsius. It was very close to room temperature. So we're pretty sure the temperature sensor is a lie. Now Kevin's got these, oh, are they showing up?
40C, what did you know?
Ah, it reports 40C in Linux too, it's everywhere. That's one consistent drive. All right, so we've got the drives, we've got them in our Linux server, and we're gonna kick off the much more intensive workloads that take no advantage of system cache. So this is where the drive's going to either surprise us all, unlikely, or fall flat on its face. Yes, please. That was my thinking arc in terms of the useless drive, but people keep, see, there's Eli. What's wrong with a $3 drive? Everything. It's going to break your heart. Sean, thanks for the follow. It's a regular SSD. It's a short board. It's got 2 NAND packs. It's got a possibly stolen controller that can't report temperature. Cooper, thanks for the follow.
So on write speed starts off pretty well.
Okay, so this one's a little tough to see, so perhaps I'll try to get you guys a little closer and or narrate. So what do you mean by pretty well?
It's 480 right now on write. This is on the drive fill.
Okay, so walk through the process a little bit, Kevin, so they know what they're looking at.
Fills the drive, partitions down to 5%, runs the workloads.
So we're running the tests on a full drive with nothing left?
Well, yeah, so we fill up the entire drive with data, partition it, and then mess around with a 5% block of the drive.
Okay. So that's what's going to happen. The fill shouldn't take all that long, yeah?
It has to still write out 120 gig.
Yes. 120 gig is not all that much, right?
Oh, should we see if it's still reporting 40 degrees Celsius, just in case?
We know it's 40C. Don't even embarrass our audience with that.
Look at that.
40C, still.
Yeah. Who would have guessed? But yeah, look at that. So
It is 120
470
gig.
or so. Right now it's doing 69, 128. It's basically
right.
leveling off into painfulness.
So on the drive fill, it started out pretty well, 480, 480, 480, 480, and now as it gets a little bit under load, 340, 112, 70, 72, 115. So when it's asked to do much more than just a little bit of burst activity, it falls pretty flat. It does not have a DRAM cache, so that's okay in terms of what we would expect, sort of, but this is really why even in the CDM workload, when we made it a little more intensive with the 64 gig file, that it couldn't even start the benchmark before the Kingston drive had finished the entire test. All right, it finished, yeah?
No.
No? What'd it do? It lapped and started going again?
No. Linux gives you a bit of a info blurb midway in the console.
See, I'm a Mac user,
So-
what do I know?
120 gig takes a while when right now it's writing out 62 megabytes a second.
Yeah, so 120 gig at 62 meg a second will take,
A while.
yeah. It is working, BTC. Nahal, this is the $3 SSD we're working on right here. I mean, this is going to take comparatively forever, right?
Yes.
It is holding 70 megasecond pretty reliably, though.
Well, on the Windows side, with larger file, it basically leveled off to around 74 megabytes a second, right, for that test file creation.
What block size is this writing at?
This, I believe, is a 1 meg block size.
1 meg.
Yeah.
So large block sequential write. It's getting pretty steady at around 70 megasecond.
Yes, very high performance.
It is not very high performance.
Very yeehaw storage.
Yeah. Yee store, yeehaw.
Oh, here. Figure out something to close this guy out.
Why?
Let me, can I just stop recording? Or
Why?
what are we, well, the other way is, what are we going to do with a 15 gig video of,
I don't know. I don't know when it's going to do something interesting.
won't. This will go on for hours.
Hours?
This test takes about 2 hours.
The fill takes 2 hours?
Fill and the other stuff, it just flows through. But like, there's nothing fun to watch.
I don't know. It might be fun to watch this for 2 hours.
The live stream, I'm just saying, like this video.
Okay. Yeah, steady state 40 Celsius. Apple, thanks for the follow. No. Ark, you may not chia plot with this thing. It's awful. You would chia plot faster on a hard drive.
Why does it sound like a semi about to drop off a freight?
Still holding 70 megasecond. Terrible. Terrible. There's some requests for you to cook pizzas during the slow parts of the live stream. It is not as good as Kingston's SSD. We have not done the VD bench yet on Kingston, but I suspect when we go do the drive fill that it'll beat 70 megasecond. And actually, I'm a little disappointed that it's. I mean, it's terrible. 56 megasecond, but I'm a little disappointed it's not more terrible. To be honest,
Well, here,
I'm
let's
not
check to see if it's still at 40C. Oh. Shit, I may have clicked the wrong thing.
Oh my gosh, you killed it.
Maybe. But hey, it's still 40C.
40C, yay!
Don't mind that. Normally this runs unattended, so I don't accidentally kill shit in the background.
Did you started it over?
Because
Yes.
it killed it.
All right. Well, you guys are welcome to stay for as long as you want, and monitor this
Until the battery dies.
until the battery dies on my phone. No, it is not good for the value. It is terrible. Stop it. I don't even know. Yes, I don't even know if it's programmed to report 40 when it's turned on. I think it's just the default. I mean, it's just what it's pumping out at all times. It's certainly not actually reading any sensors on the drive. That much we know. Kevin had to restart the fill, and it's already down to bouncing between 100, 200, 354 megas a second. So it is at least still disappointing. But yeah, there's definitely no temperature sensor on this thing at all.
I could check again, but I may kill the workload again.
No, it's not worth looking again just to see 40. Blunt It is not great for $3. It's on AliExpress, but I hate you for making me say that. For any of you guys that aren't in the Discord where this nonsense started, hit it up, discord.gg/storage review, where we talk about $3 SSDs. That should be our claim to fame. Home of the $3 SSD.
I don't want to be home to that shit. I want to be home to the sloth.
Sloths and good SSDs. Man, I wish you'd done the Kingston first. It would have finished.
Well,
Even
no,
though-
we've gone into this, then it's a time-based test. Still takes 2 hours once it starts.
Right. No, this is actually running in a Lenovo. We're just using the Dell server as a monitor stand. Ah, Ion, thanks for that gift. That's very nice. I didn't want... All right. I'm getting angry again.
Oh yeah, Lear. What do we need to get pictures of today?
We did not buy this thing. We didn't want to buy this thing. Infinity Tech sent it to us from Discord, and he is the bad man for spending $3 and shipping it to us from China. If it was up to us, we wouldn't have done any of it. I wouldn't spend $5, $8, or $22 on these crap SSDs. We would recommend finding actual SSDs that are good on eBay or on Closeout, on server parts, or whatever to make that happen. That's what we would have done. None of these $5. But now that we're onto this, and clearly you degenerates like it, the next goal will be to build a server with 24 of these shitty drives in it. No. Bad for RAID, bad for everything. Stop it. What do you want?
What? Well, I was thinking we should get photos of something. Do something productive while it's going.
Yeah. Carry on.
Well, here, do you want to grab that thing up? I'll plug it.
There's a lot of stuff on top of the HP. I'd like to get, before you do that, do you want to get the hero shot one more for Kioxia?
Well, here, do you want to lay it out? Okay, I'm gonna.
Did you accidentally kill it again?
No, I dropped it out of the screen session.
All right, so that test is going to keep running in the background. While that's going, we need to get a couple photos for other pieces we're working on that are almost done. This Kioxia project is coming along quite nicely. Really happy with how...
Wait, what are you doing?
I was looking for the loose drives.
We have extras? How many do you want out?
I mean, you could probably leave those in.
Oh my god, I ejected all of them.
That's why I'm over here getting these. I just think we need something. Did you get any with the label on them?
No,
Okay.
I didn't know we had stickers like that. Were they only in here?
It's only one.
Oh, well, you never said that.
Didn't ask me. Okay, I'll get you some answers to questions here too while Kevin's messing around. Thanks for the follow, Tio. Can we review the NM790? Is that a Lexar drive? I think we reviewed that, didn't we? You remember that, Kevin?
What?
NM790?
That was a piece of crap on the Lexar side.
All right, bad news, Walrus. We reviewed it. We didn't like it.
It was
Sorry-
good in the sense
I'm
it was
sorry
really
for your
cheap.
loss. Yeah, it was cheap, but it was a really bad drive. You just have to be careful.
Okay.
A lot of people using Proxmox these days. Even more people because, you know, IT pros are trying to figure out what's going to happen with VMware.
Okay, I'm gonna plug this guy.
So we have the cable now to get the tie-in power.
What?
We have the cable now to get the tie-in power.
Yeah. Not yet. There's a. Hold on.
Just pull harder.
Okay, all disconnected.
This is the HP Z4 rack. So we're finished testing that guy, and we'll have a review up probably next week on that. So Kevin will get the photo set. This is a 1U rack form factor Z workstation. It's got a full A6000 inside though, and we were actually a little worried about the thermals because there's not much room in a 1U case for a full-size GPU. And especially that one because it's got a fan intake on it. But we never had any trouble and worked out pretty well. The little perforations you see in the case, the lid and the sides are actually pretty strategic to let max airflow get in there. $980 Pro solid. We just reviewed the 990 Pro 4 terabyte this week, so with that out, that should be that should put pressure on pricing for the 980s. So actually, Kevin, talk about the power real quick for this.
Plugs in right there. It has rear mount power. The power supplies are in the front though.
Yes, that's pretty neat. Rear
You can
power
see it better with the
connections,
top off.
but the power supplies are in the back.
Yeah, so this guy has high voltage flowing through it. You usually don't find that in a server.
So power supplies in the front,
Actually, let me get a picture with this thing on real quick.
cabled all the way in the back. And then that's the fan I was talking about on the A6000. And there's even room and some cabling for, as you can see here, to bring more things to the front of the system as well. Yeah, the HP Z systems are really strong. They're pretty heavily engineered. This one's got the twin M.2 NVMe bays. What's the NIC in it? What did they give us? A 10 gig dual port?
It's probably like an X710. Intel 10 gig.
Yeah. Xeon W class, I assume, right?
Yeah, copper heatsink's probably worth a solid like 45 cents if you recycled it.
Don't tell the crack addicts to come steal that one heat sink out of our lab and leave all the expensive stuff behind. Kevin, how did you, I don't know if you did any riser servicing on this. How would you compare the ease of access to the risers compared to like an HPE server?
Easy. It's almost like they used to be the same company.
Yeah, I don't know how much IP stayed on that side.
And I was going to sit down on that cowl. So you have probably a solid 2 or 3 millimeters between the top of this guy and the case.
Yeah, not a lot of room, but we didn't run into any trouble.
Yeah, so this is where honestly, I don't like this design. I would prefer having a server GPU inside a server. Server
It's a
GPU.
workstation GPU.
What?
It's a workstation GPU.
It's not server GPU.
I know
Server
it's not.
GPU is going to have no fan inside of it. It's going to be a large heatsink, and it's going to depend on air being blown through the backside.
Yeah. Oh, you'd rather have a server GPU in there.
Yeah.
I see. How many watts of the power supplies?
How would I know?
We'll just pop one out for Nathan.
Read the spec sheet, man. $1.21 gigawatts. 675 watts per.
675 per. I was messing with that lever when it was plugged in, and it gets unhappy when you pop one out while it's running.
Yeah. So at least they're running as redundant. I think it's the Z6 and Z8 workstations. Those are not redundant. Those need to be both
Aggregate.
plugged in.
Our PDUs are in the back. Oh, Jordan with a rose. So special. What?
The fan intake is right there. I mean, it kills me.
With all the perforations that they didn't give you one right over the fan?
Okay, no perforations on this thing matter for the second that thing turns on. If it's something's mounted above it or below it, because it's just going to block.
Right.
Science has gone too far.
But the card didn't suck when we were testing it, so
No.
as long as it works, it works. Quite literally 2 cents. We appreciate it though. There are some air vents on the top, but to Kevin's point is when you rack this thing and put something else on top of it, then you're effectively blocked at that point. There's a small one here, good size here, nice one here, and then here and a couple on the sides as well. The sides, I guess, will suck in almost no matter what. The top, and a couple on the bottom too. This is the GPU area as well, right? But still, if you're in there sandwiched in the rack, you're not going to get much, if anything, through there. What else needs photos for the upcoming week? You did the new Samsung portable.
Samsung portables.
That's under NDA. Don't tell that to anybody.
That.
You got Kioxia.
Technically, I didn't do any drive photos of El Cheapo, but
Well, we'll have to wait for it to finish. I wonder if it's still at 40C.
probably.
Here, hand me that sled, would you, while we're on live?
What I would be tickled over is, oh, I need to get photos of the sled, and I think you wanted one closer of this guy.
This is pretty cool. This is the NVMe sled that Dell uses in their workstations. So this guy holds an M.2 NVMe drive, and it's got this little locking mechanism so that you can mount it in the front and that it's easily accessible and removable. Not everybody wants these because they're removable, but here, spin. It goes right in here. And this whole chassis thing, I don't want to squeeze it out because Kevin's about to photograph it, but it comes out. It's got two of them, push, release. This has got the whole lid on top of it. But pretty neat if you need to swap around drives and have several. HP has something similar that's coming, right? Theirs was a later release on the Zs.
For what?
For this type of, they've got like a 4-bay option.
That I'm not sure.
Yeah, it wasn't available at the time of our review.
Where the? Oh, I swear I lose stuff that's right in front of me all the time.
Sounds right. So this is the Power Edge. I'm sorry, shit. The
Precision.
Precision 7960. We'll have this review up over the weekend. Maybe today. If not today, this weekend. What was the issue that you were going back and forth with on the GPU?
It looks like it is the 6000 again.
Looks like or is?
Is. So, RTX 6000.
Okay.
The other model is A6000. Because it went RTX 6000 to A6000. Now it's RTX 6000 Ada. So
The spec sheet had said something else, so we should pull the part number.
I looked at the NVIDIA site. It's everywhere on NVIDIA and everything around this card is the RTX 6000 Ada.
Okay. Maybe, is it possible we didn't review the Lexar because it was so bad? This guy said you can't find it on the website.
I don't think we got it. Like we had the P6000 in that era. I don't think we got samples in that era.
But we said it was awful,
What?
the Lexar.
Oh, NM600 and I think the M.2 was that terrible where we tested the first one, we got a replacement, and we're like, screw it or whatever, the thing was just shit. But we did a lot of the El Cheapo, cheap $100.
It definitely wouldn't be on TikTok. It would have been on the website. The RAM in this system's from Dell, whatever the OEM config is. It's only 4 sticks of 32.
Yes.
4 sticks of 32.
That's a pretty nicely designed platform.
Yeah, Dell and HP both do a real nice job with their platforms. Lenovo too. I mean, they're all the leading OEMs. Here, leave that apart for a second. I might do a thing on that later. Since it's apart.
Okay.
I don't know that
I'm leaving the screws right on the thermal pad. It just stays like stuck.
Why are there only 3? Is that all there are?
Yeah, 1, 2.
Skip
3.
a few.
Let me get these files cached before I forget to put them on Photoshop.
All right. Well, I think we've done all the damage we can do today. The $3 drive was not as big of a disappointment as I expected. expected, but that was just the light work that we showed on it. We'll be doing the more intensive work. We'll just see how terrible it is. I'm hoping for the best of the worst, or the worst, just the worst. So we'll see how that goes. We've got to then test the Kingston drive, so we'll do that as well. And then we'll write up a piece and do a showdown, and probably do another video to a short of the results. The NVMe drive tested and finished, and it is exquisitely chef's kiss terrible. That one has no business at $8, has no business being purchased by anyone. So I'll argue with you on the $3 one. If you're an insane person that just wants a boot drive, fine, maybe. As long as you're prepared for it to disappoint you at some point. On the NVMe one, absolutely not. It's even at $8, it's extremely expensive. When you can get a terabyte QLC drive with a real controller that's warranted and that you can actually execute on the warranty, at $30-ish, 33, that's where the jam is. So for now, though, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your support as always. All the likes and follows and gifts and shares are wildly appreciated. So thank you so much. And Infinity Tech, I still hate you.